When it comes to solo training for my empty hand skills, I do two main things: bag training and shadow boxing. I train like a pugilist because in my heart I am a pugilist. This may surprise a few people who see me as more of a weapons guy, but the bridge to my weapons is my pugilistic skills. When I train pugilism, when I shadow box, I make sure I do things other than just working on regular striking. I include some very dirty tactics such as grabbing the back of the head, hammer fist, palm strikes, elbows, knees, headbutts. All of these things are included in my training. When I shadow box, I don't always go fast. I sometimes move very slow and concentrate on my body mechanics. It's very important to develop your body mechanics. Engage your hips and your core into your punching. Hit with as much power as you can. This all comes from your mechanics. When I'm hitting the bag, I try not to do things that overturn my center line, that make my body turn past my center line, because it puts me in a vulnerable position. But I still get my power from my hips and my feet. You don't see the exaggerated movement that I teach beginners, because as you develop, it becomes more of a hip shake than a hip turn. You can't overturn your hip or you will be vulnerable to somebody turning your center line and putting you in a bad position. When I throw headbutts, I use the top of my head and I come upward generally and push with my feet, push with my legs. Headbutts are dangerous to do on the bag, so make sure you go light. Make sure you don't go too hard. For the most part, when I train on the heavy bag, I train with no gloves. But I have been hitting things for a long time. You have to be very careful when you do that. And you don't want to scrape your knuckles on a heavy bag, because there's other people's skin and spit and whatever on that heavy bag. I mean, I do disinfect my bags, but still, you want to be careful with what you're leaving on the bag and what you're taking off the bag. So one thing you can do is move around the bag as you train. Concentrate on proper footwork. Always step in a way that expands your stance and doesn't contract it. If you find yourself off balance, that means you have to work more on footwork. That means more shadow boxing, more movement, more footwork drills. When it comes to training for personal protection and combatives, you'll see I do a lot of clinching where I'm hanging onto the bag or I'm putting my hands in the bag like I got them in somebody's face. And I even, when I'm shadow boxing, latch on the back of an imaginary opponent's head and hammer fist and palm strike and elbow into my hands. Also include strength training, weights, push-ups, pull-ups, crunches, core training. Whatever you can do safely, apply it to your training. Include it in your training. When I'm doing this in between rounds, I am doing pull-ups, push-ups, and other body weight strength training. This is very, very important. I never kick high and I never use roundhouses anymore, partially because of my back problem, but also because I don't want to turn my center line. So my low line kicking is stomping and oblique kicks and knees never above the groin. This is my way. You don't have to make it your way. You don't have to like my way. But this is how I train pugilism, and this is how I will probably always train pugilism for the rest of my days. Thank you.